you and I worked together. We got Bernie on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Then,
thank you for your help on that.
Well, maybe thank you for my help on that. What I was going to ask you is the backlash. So there was this backlash that happened as a result of it.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? What do you make? Do you think it was performative outrage, fake outrage? Was it just because people in the elite media don't like Rogan? And do you regret any of it or what?
Now, I turn this into philosophical conversation about my school of politics. I'll just offer my point of view on this. And I appreciate other people have different points. My point of view is where I'm engaged in the art of persuasion. That is why I'm in this. I've been always motivated by injustices in our society. I want to do something about those injustices. And so when I see people who don't agree with me, I want to reach out and figure out both why they disagree, what can I do to persuade them to agree with me. And so, both in going on Fox News town halls, going on conservative podcasts, going on, talking to Joe Rogan, I see opportunities, and I wish there were more of them, to go talk to people who don't already agree with you. And we did a lot of talking to people who agree with us on the campaign. We hold a bunch of rallies, go talk to people. And in the center, I felt strongly like, where are the avenues where you can have an honest and real conversation just about the issues that you care about, not assuming and anticipating that the other person might fully agree with you, but just would give you a platform to be able to have that conversation. And to his credit, Joe Rogan, if you go back and listen, please, I urge everyone to go listen to the podcast, gave a wonderful platform to us to at least have an honest and thoughtful conversation. The Senator said one of my favorite things during the entire campaign, during that conversation with Joe Rogan, when he's talking about how, corporations get away with essentially not paying anything in taxes. Rogan's like, but why? Why do they do that? That should be illegal. And Bernie says, Joe, it's legal because they write the laws.
Right.
And it was a beautiful moment, right?
Yeah.
It was like, exactly, right?
Yeah.
But it was like those beautiful moments come because like you're engaging with someone who doesn't already necessarily agree with anything. And that I believe strongly in.
Well, it was really weird to me watching it from the outside. It was really interesting to me because Joe Rogan was very clearly like, I like Bernie. I'm signing on to Bernie. He gave him like a sort of a tepid endorsement along the way.
I'll probably vote for him.
Yeah.
It was
I'll
like
probably
as
vote
strong
for him.
as it went.
Now,
we lean into he's going to vote for us. Yeah.
But so that's Joe Rogan, the #1 podcaster in the country, by the way, saying, I'm with this guy, Bernie. And then somehow it was twisted as if like Bernie had signed on to every joke Rogan had ever made.
Yeah.
So where he said some trans thing in like 1999. And it's like, oh my God, how can Bernie support that? Bernie didn't say anything about supporting that. It was Rogan who said, I'm signing on to what Bernie's doing.
And strategically, we talked about this, Kyle, the hardest part of our campaign, the thing that we always felt we had to overcome was electability, that we could beat Donald Trump. And the way in which we wanted to project that was not only like lots of different opportunities. Every time I could see an opportunity to do that, I wanted to seize it. There it was.
Yeah.
Like what better example? Here's a guy who's likely a Trump voter who voted for Trump last time.
Well, no, what he did, he said he would prefer Bernie over Trump, but then when it was Biden, he was basically
No, I meant last time in 2016.
No, I don't think he voted.
Oh, he didn't vote. Okay.
No, vote Gary Johnson, and he voted for Gary Johnson.
Gotcha. So here's a person who's essentially not a progressive. Let's say
or like apolitical, not progressive, right?
And here you're converting and persuading people. That was what Bernie was doing. I really feel strongly about this because of the Bernie bro narrative and all that stuff that's out there. One of the things that I got angry about and still get angry about is we've lost touch with true populism, right? Of like people getting out of their seats and getting enthusiastic and believing in something. And when you have that, when you have true populism, when you have true people who just love and support an agenda and a person in Bernie Sanders, it can be messy. Guess what? Some of those people have not been traditional Democratic voters. Guess what? They haven't worked for Democratic politicians. They haven't been engaged in politics for a long period of time.
Tweeted controversial
Some of
things
them have said some of them have said things that you don't agree with. Some of them act in ways that you don't always like. But that is the messiness of true populism. And I in trying to usher in a campaign, I would try to explain this to all the reporters who'd be very angry about, are you going to condemn this? I'm like, all we can do is lead by example of the values of Bernie Sanders, but also appreciate that people are coming from different walks and different places in life to support this campaign. And I want to both say these are the values of Bernie, but also respect and appreciate that you might be coming from wherever you might be coming from. And that's how you reach out and expand the base of a Democratic Party, which Bernie was doing better than any politician that I'm aware of, and yet he would frequently be condemned for it, right? Frequently.
And
it
read
just
the
pisses
comments
me
on
off.
the Rogan. The comments were like, I thought this guy was crazy. I thought this guy was a hardcore communist or what. And now I'm listening to him talk. I agree with everything he says. And this is from people who were nominally apolitical or leaning right or whatever. And Bernie was convincing them in real time on the #1 podcast in the country. And the media looked at that and said, that's unacceptable.
That's a bad thing.
Right,
There's a problem there. Not that there's an upshot.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, maybe he might be better positioned to defeat Donald Trump. Look, he's being able to persuade millions of listeners of Joe Rogan in addition to Rogan himself.
Right.
I also think this gets back to, like, why is the Republican Party making gains with certain segments of working class Americans is like the Republicans, the right and the right commentators are a lot smarter about this stuff. Rogan says one thing that agrees with them, and they're
They
like,
clip it out,
he's ours,
run articles,
you know,
yeah.
just like us. He thinks like we do. He can say 1,000 progressive things, and no one
And the
pays
left never
any
goes,
attention.
look what he said. It's
the
a
only
left-wing
thing they care about is when he says something, you know, stupid
Nominally
about
right, yeah.
vaccines or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why wouldn't you want to affiliate with and claim the person who is the #1 podcast
It's just
in
smart
the world,
politics. Yeah, it's just intelligent
and
politics.
incredibly popular, and has, you know, a group of people who are in his audience who may be persuadable, who may, you know, see themselves in some of the things that you're saying. It's, to me, that sort of thinking is so counter to, you know, to actually building a coalition, actually being able to move policy forward and have a you know, universal health care or free college or any of the things that we believe in.
If you talk about this project where you're trying to engage with More Perfect Union, you're trying to do persuasion, which you're in some sense what we're trying to do is break a bubble for some people who may not all just experience the life of somebody who isn't completely like themselves.
Yeah.
Who may not have worked at McDonald's, may not have worked at an Amazon warehouse, may not like know what that's like.
Yeah.
Break the bubble, empathize, see it, understand it, respect it. They're coming from a different place. That's you got to have that. You got remember if you're engaged in the political sphere, you're engaged in persuasion. I want to believe you got to urge more people to support your perspective. And it pains me when you get kind of chastised and run over the grill just for you know, trying to speak to people who may not already agree with you.
Yeah.
Guys, go subscribe to More Perfect Union. If you don't, you're missing out.